everyone. Welcome to Kavira Coalition's yoga series for farmers and ranchers. My name is Alexis, and I am the new agrarian program coordinator up in Montana. And I'm just going to get going since most of you join me on replay. Don't want to take up too much time with the introductions, but if you get a chance, please watch the previous videos in this series. Today we're going to be doing a little bit more of stretching. So the last 3 times or 4 times, I can't remember, we've done a lot of strength work with our hip flexors, our glutes, your adductors, your inner thighs, and some breathing work. And so you can do this on the floor. You can also, if you have a chair that's more comfortable for you to sit on, you can be seated on a chair. So just find a comfortable seated position, what makes sense for you. Sometimes this cross-legged seated position doesn't work for some people, and that's okay. So we're going to start with breathing like we do every class. And I'm going to explain again that most of us chest breathe. So during the day, when we inhale, we just breathe at the very top of our lungs. And it's extremely important that you begin to learn how to breathe deeply into the entire capacity of your lungs. Sorry, my dogs are going to help out today, it seems like. So just notice how you're breathing right now so that we can notice the difference after class. And so when you inhale, I want you to think of the air expanding 360 degrees. So not just in the front of your lungs, but also the sides, the bottom, and your back. So when you inhale through the nose, fill the lungs up all the way to the top, and then I want you to hold it there for a moment. Open your mouth and exhale all of the air out. That's another thing we tend not to do. We tend not to breathe all of the air out of our lungs. And so today, during the next 45 minutes, I want you to really work on inhaling fully and exhaling fully. So we're going to breathe 3 times together, as deep as you can. So when you're ready, take a nice deep inhale through your nose, filling your lungs up all the way to the top. Open your mouth and exhale all of the air out. Inhale through the nose, making it a deeper breath this time. Hold it there for a moment. Open your mouth and exhale all of the air out. Last one together. Inhale through the nose. We're going to hold this one for just a little bit longer at the top, so filling up your lungs to their entire capacity. Hold it there for a moment. Open your mouth and exhale all of the air out. Sometimes that feels weird, that deep breath right at the beginning feels weird because we're not used to doing it. And so for the next 40 minutes or so, I want you to focus on your breathing first. If there's something in class that you're not able to do for any reason, that's totally okay. Just listen for modifications or just skip that pose entirely. But now that we've done a little bit of breathing practice, we are going to warm up our spine, moving it in all the directions. And so often, most people, especially farmers and ranchers, what happens is we tend to bend the spine this way, forward. And so our chest muscles, get contracted and our shoulder muscles get elongated. And so it's really hard to move our shoulders back and widen our chest. And so what we're going to do is we're going to move our spine front to back and side to side and twist. So all the ways our spine can move. And so if you're on a chair, that's totally fine. If you're seated, that's fine. You're just going to bring your hands to your knees. You're going to take a deep breath in through the nose. And on your exhale, I want you to round your spine back, bringing your shoulders forward and tuck your chin to your chest. On your inhale, bring your chest forward, roll your shoulder heads back, and then just look up gently. And then exhale again, round your spine backwards like you're trying to create a turtle shell with your back. And then inhale, chest forward, shoulder heads roll back, look up gently. Okay, at your own pace, I want you to move through a couple of these seated cat-cow positions. If something feels particularly good, just stay there for a moment and breathe. And remember, we're always being aware of our breathing. So if you feel like your breathing is restricted in any way, you can just come out of the posture a little bit or try to breathe a little bit deeper. And remember, never push yourself into anything that is painful or doesn't feel quite right to you. And every day that's going to be a little bit different. All right, coming back to the center. So it's really important that every day we move our spine in all the directions that it is able to move. So we did front, back. Now we're going to do lateral, so side to side. So very gentle side bend. Just bring your right hand out to the side. Let your fingers gently touch the floor. If you're on a chair, that's totally fine. You can just put your hand right on the side of the chair. You're going to inhale your left arm up. And now I want you to lengthen out of the left side of your body and then just very gently begin to take a side bend. So when we move laterally in our spine, you want to make sure that your shoulders stay in one line and your hips are not twisting. So if your shoulder's dropping, try to bring it back. And we're lengthening through the left side of the body. So when we think about our breathing here, we're compressing our left or our right lung and we're stretching our left lung. And so as you breathe, it's going to feel a little bit constricted, and that's okay. So we just have to really focus on our breathing. Deep breath in through the nose and slow breath out. And then slowly come back out. Now we're going to take a twist. So bring your right hand to your left knee, left hand to the floor behind you. When we're twisting, we want to find length in our spine first, not necessarily depth. That will come over time. So when you're ready, you inhale and you lengthen. So sit up, try to relax your shoulders, and then on your exhale, gently look back and maybe put a little pressure on your left knee with your right hand. And don't crank your neck, just gently look over your shoulder. And breathe always, so deep breath in through the nose, slow breath out. Slowly come back to the center. Bring your left hand out to the side, inhale your right arm up, so we're creating length on the right side of the body. So lift up, lengthen even more, and then exhale, gently take a lateral flexion of your spine. Try not to scrunch up in the shoulders or neck, keeping your chin away from your chest. And keeping your right sit bone pressed into the ground. Sometimes it helps if you just push into the floor with your left hand. Not letting your right shoulder drop forward. We're allowing our right shoulder to come back. And slowly, carefully come out. All right, into a twist. Left hand to your right knee. Right hand to the floor behind you. So remember, we're looking for length and breath first. Then you can start to focus on the depth. So inhale, lift and lengthen, and exhale and twist. Gently looking over your shoulder, but do not crank your neck. There's no reason to. And you want to feel your belly rising with every inhale. So breathe deeply into your abdomen. And slowly come back to the center. Okay, so we did forward flexion, backward, side to side, and twisting. So we moved our spine in all the directions and we worked on our breathing. So again, we're going to move our spine back and forth. So I'm going to want you to bring your hands behind you and your fingers can face outward. And I'll turn so you can see. There's going to be a couple options here. So we're going to do a slight backward bend. So I want you to think, if you know the upward dog pose, we're going to place our hands on the floor, and I want you to think about lifting your chest up towards the ceiling as much as possible. So finding a little bit of mobility and flexibility in your thoracic spine, in between your shoulder blades. You can stay right here, or you can lift your hips up towards the ceiling and drop your head back. So now we're starting to warm up our back muscles, if that is feeling comfortable to you. And exhale, forward fold. We're going to sit up, arms up, and then exhale, fold over your legs if that's comfortable. Now, if you're in a cross-legged seated position and this is hard on your knees, or it just doesn't feel really good to go far, you just can stay lifted and just walk your hands forward to go as far as you are able to go today. I gotta fix something on my phone real quick, so you just stay right there. All right, slowly walk your hands back. Okay, we're gonna come on to hands and knees. So what we're going to do here is bring our shoulders directly over our wrists, hips over your knees. Now if your wrists give you any pain, which is very common, you can come onto your fists. So just make a fist and come down onto your knuckles here, which makes it a little bit, you can be a little bit stronger in your wrist area. So now we're going to do cat-cows on our knees, hands and knees. So take a deep breath in first with a neutral spine. On your exhale, round your spine up towards the ceiling. Look in between your knees. Now we're getting some abdominal wall strengthening at the same time. So I want you to pull your ribs in and really engage your core. And then inhale, drop your belly down, shoulder heads roll away from your face, your butt sticks up a little bit. You can look up with your eyes, not your forehead. And then exhale, round. Inhale into cow. This is a good stretch for your abdominal wall too, even as we're working it. All right, coming back to the center. Now we're going to start to strengthen our transverse abdominis, so it's your deepest core muscles. And this doesn't seem like it's doing a lot, I think, for some people, but it really is helping us strengthen your deepest core muscles. It helps us stabilize, helps us balance. And so what we're going to do here is you're going to extend your left leg straight back. And so when you extend your left leg back, your left glute is engaged. So that's what's lifting your leg up. And we're going to keep our left foot flexed. So you can stay right here if this is enough for you, or extend your right arm forward. So it's really easy to let our ribs and belly drop while we're doing this. So I want you to pull your ribs in as you extend your right leg or right arm forward. Try not to scrunch up in the neck too much. And then exhale, right hand down, left knee down. Extend your right leg straight back. So again, your glute fires here. One thing to remember is our glutes are super strong, but because we don't utilize them, they get, if we sit a lot, so like just during the day, if you're driving around in a truck a lot, you're in a tractor a lot, if there's a lot of sitting, then your glutes get kind of lazy, and you have to teach them how to fire again. And so this is a really good way to do that. As you lift your leg up, just make sure that your glute is engaged. And then extend your left arm forward. So when you're holding your leg up, make sure you're not trying to hold it up and it's super limp. That's really hard. And the more your back will try to engage to hold your leg up, you have to lengthen through all the muscles in your leg and engage your right glute. All right, everyone, left hand down, right knee down. Now I want you to bring your toes together, your knees open up, and if this is gonna be at all hurt your knees, you can grab a pillow and place it between your hamstrings and your calf muscles, but we're gonna come into child's pose. So let your hips fall back to your heels, extend your arms forward, and you can relax your forehead on the floor or a pillow. And remember, if you need a little bit of cushion there, feel free to do that. Just find length in your spine. All right, slowly come back out. Okay, for the next, we're gonna come back into our tabletop, and I'm gonna turn so you can kind of see. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna bring our right leg out to the side. So just depending on your flexibility and your hip mobility, it might come back a little bit, but we're trying to get it even with our hip bone. So like this here. And then you're gonna walk your left hand over to the side and inhale your right arm up. So here we go, just in case. So you can stay right here. You should feel a nice stretch in the right side, or you can lift the right leg up. So now we're engaging our gluteus medius, which definitely doesn't get a lot of attention or work, and so the weaker it gets, the more our back muscles sort of take on the burden of a weak gluteus medius. And then if you'd like to get more, you can pulse your right leg up and down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, bring your right foot down, and then just come up as best you can and bring your left arm up towards the ceiling, and then take another lateral flexion of your spine. So just nice side bend, keeping your shoulders open. And come back to the center. Drop your hands down to the floor, bring your right knee in, and then extend your left leg out to the side. Walk your hands over to the right, keep your right hand down, inhale your left arm up. So we want a strong shoulder, so don't dump into your shoulder joint. Sometimes it's really easy to dump down into your joint, so really push the floor away. And then you can stay here or float your left leg off the floor, and again, your gluteus medius engages here, the side glute, that oftentimes is pretty weak on most of us. So when your side or your gluteus medius is weak, our back has to work harder, and that's why a lot of us have lower back pain, is because the muscles in our pelvic area and our hips are weak, and so our back ends up taking all of that stress. All right, drop your left hand or left foot down. Come up any way you're able to. Bring your left hand to your left leg. Inhale your right arm up, and exhale, side bend. So just another lateral flexion like we did at the beginning of class. slowly, carefully come back to the center. Drop your hands back to the floor. Bring your left knee back into a tabletop position. And now we're going to come up to a standing position. If you want to skip downward dog, if that just doesn't feel right to you, you can totally do it. If you're going to do downward dog with me, you just curl your toes under, straighten your legs, lift your hips up, and obviously bend your knees as much as you need to. You do not need to have straight legs. You can pedal your feet out and sway your hips side to side. If this isn't working for you, you just don't feel like doing it, just come to a standing position. All right, so now you might not be able to see the top of my head, but that's okay. So we are at a standing position. You can have your feet right underneath your hips, or you can bring your feet closer together. It doesn't really matter to me, just whatever is most comfortable. And so in a couple of the classes, we've talked about our pelvic position and how that impacts our engagement of our abdominal core. And so I want you to just notice that as we're standing here. Oftentimes, people will flare, I'm going to exaggerate the movement, but people will flare their ribs out, and then their butt will stick out, and so our pelvis is tilted in this way that makes our lumbar crunch and our abdominal wall basically disengage. And so we want to avoid this curving our lumbar spine already more than it is. And so you can bring your hand to your sacrum, just in your lower back here, and then one hand to your front floating ribs. And I want you to push your ribs in and drop your tailbone down. Just I want you to feel that motion of bringing your ribs closer to your spine and tilting your pelvis forward. And so that position, that engages your abdominal wall in a better way. Your glutes are now engaged. And so we're taking the stress off our lower back a little bit more. And so just remember that if you are standing around and you're flaring your ribs and your butt's kind of sticking out, which is super common, just engage your glutes, pull your front ribs in towards your spine so that you can lengthen your back, lengthen your lower back, and protect it with your glutes. All right, so in the standing position, we'll just come to mountain pose. So just arms by your side, palms face forward. Just drop your shoulders down your back. Now we're going to take 3 deep breaths again. So take a deep breath in through your nose, filling up your lungs all the way to the top. Open your mouth and exhale all of the air out. Inhale through the nose, a deeper breath this time. Open your mouth and exhale all of the air out. Last one, inhale through the nose, your deepest breath yet today. Open your mouth and exhale all of the air out. Now just begin to breathe normally again. All right, everyone, when you're ready, inhale your arms up towards the ceiling. You can take a slight back bend, but remember when you do, we don't want our butts sticking out. We want to engage our glutes and lifting up through our chest. And then exhale, bring your hands to your heart and take a forward fold with a flat back. Now, in our forward fold, a lot of times we can only go halfway just because of tight hamstrings, a tight back, injuries, many reasons limit our forward fold. So if you get to a point where you're like, oh, that's super painful, you can use your chair and just place your hands on your chair to stretch your lower back and your hamstrings. Bend your knees as much as you need to, so don't worry about straight legs if they're just not quite there yet. And so you can just stay in a halfway lift, or if you're a little bit more flexible today, you can take a full forward fold, letting your head hang heavy. And like I like to say to my students all the time is there's no prize for straight legs, so don't feel the need to straighten your legs so much. I like to bend my knees just to give everything a break and then allow my head to hang heavy. You can shake it around to relax it. It's very common that tension will come back up into the head and neck. And then you have an option to grab onto opposite elbows and sway your upper body side to side. And again, if you're not in a full forward fold, that's totally fine. You're just going to stay at your halfway lift fold. All right, coming back to the center. You can leave your feet 6 inches apart, or you can bring them closer together. If you're not already in a halfway lift, we're going to inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold a little bit more, and then inhale, sweep your arms up. Mountain pose, so arms are above your head. You can take a slight backward bend if that feels good to you, but remember, your glutes have to be engaged to extend your hip flexors and protect your lower back. And then exhale, forward fold, flat back. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, I always like my knees a little bent here. Inhale, all the way up. Arms up overhead, optional back bend. And exhale, forward fold. All right, one more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up. Optional back bend. And then forward fold. All right, everyone, we're just going to come to a standing position, and we're going to practice a little bit of balancing and strengthening our gluteus medius, which is what I said, it's on the side here. And what the gluteus medius does is it stabilizes you when you are standing on one leg. So like when you step up into something, your gluteus medius is what is preventing you from falling over. So a stronger gluteus medius will lead to stronger balancing, which is important for all of us. And then the other thing that it does is it abducts. That's Rollo. So it opens your leg out to the side, right? So adduction, come to the center, abduction, out to the side. So we're going to do a little practice here. I really encourage you to grab a chair just to help with the balance, because it can be challenging, but if you practice this over time, which I hope you guys do, it'll get easier and easier and you won't need a chair anymore. So we're going to inhale our right leg up. So basically your right thigh bone is going to be parallel to the ground and your shin bone is going to be at a 90-degree angle to your thigh bone. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And what we're going to do here is you're going to open, abduct your leg out to the side. So now you feel your gluteus medius fire and then pull it back to the center. When you pull it back to the center, your inner thigh, your adductor muscle will be firing, which is important. So I want you to just kind of work at your own pace here. Your adductor is also generally weak because you have to kind of specifically target the muscle to strengthen it, and that's kind of hard to do. And your quad is usually pretty strong, and so your quad just kind of takes over when you really should be using your adductor. The quad's like, no, I got this. And so your adductor is really never forced to engage. So keep doing what you're doing, but one of the biggest things people do is they open their pelvis, try to get more range of motion in their leg. And what I want you to do is keep your pelvis stable. So we're looking for range of motion in our joint, not trying to open it super wide. That's not the point. The point is to engage the right muscle in the right way. So don't allow your, swinging in your hips to happen. Okay, now your hip flexors are probably getting tired too because that's what's pulling your knee up towards the ceiling. So you can start to feel all of that. All right, coming back to the center. Your left foot meets your right. I hope you felt that, I do. You can massage it out if you need to. And then we're gonna switch sides to our left leg. So inhale your left knee up. And again, you want your left foot flexed, and by flexed I mean toes coming towards your face, thigh bone parallel to the ground, your shin about 90-degree angle to your thigh bone. If you don't have a mirror, it's kind of hard to see what you're doing, but just do the best you can. So remember, when we're standing here, your glute is firing on the standing leg, and then slowly we're going to begin to open, abduct your knee out to the side. And remember, we're not trying to compete for how wide we can open our knee. We want our pelvis stable. So the things that we're working here that are important is your gluteus medius, your adductor, and your hip flexors. So all very important to your core and your stabilization and just your movement in general. Being able to balance, being able to protect your back. And again, your right glute should be firing the whole time. And my students always forget about their feet. So a lot of times I look around and I see feet kind of dangling. And that makes it harder. So the more you can engage every part of your leg, the stronger it is. So try to keep your toes flexed. And remember, we're just looking for mobility in the joint and strengthening all the muscles around. And a lot of times that feeling that you're maybe getting in your hip flexor by now, everyone mistakes that for tightness, but it's mostly weakness. We're pretty weak in our hip flexors, and so we think we have super tight hips when it's actually our muscles are weak. And you get kind of the same feeling. Tightness and weakness are hard to figure out what the difference is. All right, coming back to the center, I can feel it. So just rub it out if you need to. Nice work. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna come and we're gonna strengthen some of our back muscles. So we're gonna meet on our bellies on the floor. You can get there any way you would like to. So another thing is, I've talked about this before in other classes, but you only have 5 vertebrae connecting your upper skeletal structure with your lower skeletal structure. Those 5 vertebrae need support from your glutes. They need support from your abdominal wall, your deep back muscles, your adductors, and your hip flexors. And so if any of the combination of those are weak, your back tends to just kind of take on all of that stress, and that leads to our vertebrae and our lower back just getting a lot of pressure. And so we have to strengthen all the muscles around our spine to help support it so that we can move and do things the older we get. Okay, so we're going to get onto our stomach to strengthen some of our deep back muscles. So we're going to bring our hands right underneath our shoulders. Your legs can be separated, but we want to engage our glutes here, right, to protect our back. So engage, squeeze your glutes, and then inhale your upper body up slightly. So bring your elbows in towards your body. It's like I'm pressing in between your shoulder blades and your chest is coming forward. Shoulders down and back, away from your face. Your glutes are engaged. This might feel like it's crunching a little bit on your lower back, so you really need to sort of squeeze your glutes a little bit more. And then exhale, slowly drop your upper body. Bend both knees, sway your feet side to side. coming back to the center, legs straighten again. We're going to leave our arms crossed in front of us, and we're just going to try to do 10 of these. So these exercises are meant for you to do, remember and do as much as you can, even if it's just one of these things a day. So you're going to cross your forearms, squeeze your glutes, and then inhale, lift your upper body off the floor a little bit, and then exhale, drop. So inhale, lift, exhale, drop. 3, 4, remember you're inhaling up, exhaling down. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Exhale, release. Oof. All right, we're gonna push back into child's pose to stretch our back out. So toes touch, knees open. Remember, you can use a pillow in between your hamstrings and your calf muscles. You can just come to your forearms if that feels better, or you can extend your arms all the way out, relaxing your forehead on the floor or a pillow. And just breathe deeply in through your nose and maybe out through your mouth this time. All right, everyone, slowly come back. Okay, we're going to just do a couple exercises before we end with some stretching. So we're going to strengthen, I'm going to show you an exercise on strengthening your gluteus maximus and then strengthening your hip flexors. So gluteus maximus, you're going to come back to your tabletop position. And remember, you can come onto your fists if your wrists hurt. If you have blocks or anything that's a little bit lower, you can also bring your forearms to something that's a little bit lower. So we're going to extend our right leg back, flex your right foot. Okay, so it's easier for me because I can see myself, but sometimes when we're just learning how to do things, our body doesn't work the way we want it to. So just do what you can. So we're going to slightly bend our right knee, and you don't have to bring it 45 degrees. You can just bring it, 90 degrees. You can bring it 45 degrees. And then you're just going to straighten your leg and kick through your heel. And then a slight bend, and then kick. Slight bend. So you can feel your butt just totally firing here. Keeping your right foot flexed. I'm going to do this about 10 times. 8, 9, and 10. All right, the other side. So bring your right knee down, extend your left leg back. So bend your knee just about 45 degrees and then kick through your heel. Try to keep your your knee as high as your hip joint. And now, when we first start, sometimes we're down here, and that's totally fine. Just do what you can. But if you can lift your leg a little bit higher, go for it. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, nice job. Come to your butts, and then we're going to work on our hip flexors. And again, I've talked about this in previous classes, so please go back to the videos and watch the other classes because I've talked about it at length. But your hip flexors, when you step up, anytime you're bringing your knee close to your chest, your hip flexors are what you need to engage that properly. If your hip flexors are weak, your quads and your back will take most of that. So to strengthen our hip flexors, we're just going to sit on the ground. You can bring your left leg out. I'll scoot back a bit. So again, step one, you can bring your hands behind you. Just slide your heel in towards your chest and then straighten your leg out. Slide in and out. Okay, so that's step one, is just keeping your heel on the floor. Step two is you hover your leg and then bring your knee into your chest. So the heel is no longer on the floor, and now we're trying not to round our spine too much. We want to keep a lift. This will tire your flexors out pretty quickly, so just do what you're able to do. If you could do this just once a day for a couple minutes, you'd be amazed at how much stronger you get. Just a simple motion. All right, we're gonna bring our knee in to our chest, and then just like we were doing standing, you're gonna do it on your butt. You're just gonna abduct your knee out to the side and bring it back. So 10 times, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, my leg's on fire. I hope yours is too, so rub it out if you need to. Switch, so bring your right knee in, your left leg in, right leg long. It's backwards on Facebook, so you have to say the opposite when the video is doing it. So I actually have my left leg out, but it looks like my right leg. So bring your right leg out to the side. You can bring your hands behind you. Whew. Slide your heel in and straighten. All right, so that's step one. If you want a little bit more, you hover your leg and pull your knee in. And it's not gonna come super close to your chest, so don't worry about that so much. Just do what you're able to. I'm gonna try to do 10 of these. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take a break if you need to, but then we're gonna abduct. Open your right knee out to the side, 1 for the day. So shake out, rub out, whatever you need to. We're gonna end with some stretching here. So we're gonna bring the soles of our feet together, let the tops of your feet open up wide. Interlock your fingers underneath your feet, sit up nice and tall. Take a deep breath in, exhale, bend your elbows, bring your upper body forward. So you can do a couple things here. If you want more of a stretch in your hips, keep your spine long and try to bring your belly down towards the floor. If you want more of a spinal stretch, you're going to tuck your chin to your chest and aim your forehead to your knees. Right, slowly come back. Extend your left leg out. Bring your right foot over your left leg and make sure both sit bones are pressed into the floor. Left arm up. Bring it to the outside of your right knee. Right hand on the floor behind you. You can just bend your left elbow and just take a gentle twist. Slowly come back to the center, extend your right leg, bring your left foot over your right arm up, bring it around your left leg. You can just bend your right elbow. Left hand behind you, inhale, lift and lengthen, exhale and twist. inhale back to the center. All right, we're gonna come to our backs. So we're gonna stretch our quads and our hip flexors. So I want you to just bend your right knee. So on your back, but just keep your right knee bent. And then your left foot goes underneath your right leg. And just let your left knee gently fall towards the floor. And remember, we're still breathing deeply into our belly. Sometimes it's good to just put your hand there and so you can feel your belly rise and your belly fall. All right, we're going to switch. So bend your left knee. Bring your right foot underneath your knee. I like to grab onto my foot to place my leg and then just let my right knee gently fall towards the floor. So you should be feeling the stretch in your quad, the front of your hip. And slowly come back. All right, we're gonna end in Shavasana. So just stay on your backs. You can bend your knees, especially if there's lower back issues when you straighten your legs out. So you can keep your knees bent, or you can straighten your legs, letting your toes fall open. So arms by your side, palms face up. All right, Shavasana is about keeping your nervous system relaxed for about 2 minutes. And so you let your autonomic nervous system take over your breathing, so you're not consciously focusing on your breath anymore. You're just allowing your body to do what it does naturally. And hopefully this breath that you have right now is a little bit deeper and more natural deep breath than you started class with. And so I just want you to relax here for at least 2 minutes. Thank you guys for joining me today. I know most of you join on replay, so welcome. It is about -10 degrees out. I know it looks warm outside my windows, but it's not. So I hope if you are anywhere in this cold snap we're getting like we are in Montana, that you are staying warm and safe, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks for our next yoga class. Namaste.